Caitlin Clark just pulled off the most unexpected assist of her entire career, and she wasn't even holding a basketball. While the world was busy applauding her massive $25 million Nike deal, the biggest in WNBA history, she quietly made a move that no one saw coming, and it wasn't about money, stats, or even herself. In a league where attention is hard-earned and loyalty is rare, Caitlin stepped into the spotlight, only to hand it to someone else. What happened next didn't just turn heads, it shocked the league, shook up the media, and redefined what power really looks like in women's sports. And here's the kicker. Her biggest play yet had nothing to do with points, rebounds, or highlight reels. It was about something far more valuable. Let's be clear, Caitlin Clark didn't just sign a sneaker deal. She rewrote the script. 8 years, $25 million, a signature shoe line before even finishing her rookie season. That's not just rare, it's unheard of in the WNBA. And when the news dropped, the sports world exploded. Headlines, highlights, Nike commercials on standby. Everyone assumed this was the beginning of the Caitlin Clark era, and they weren't wrong. But here's what no one expected. Instead of soaking in the spotlight, Caitlin used her moment to shine it directly on someone else. And she didn't just give them a shout-out, she gave them a seat at the table. This wasn't a buzzer beater. It was a power move, a silent, deliberate statement that said, "If I'm winning, we're all winning." And just like that, the biggest sneaker deal in league history turned into something even more valuable. A story about loyalty, gratitude, and rewriting the rules of stardom. But who was this mystery teammate that Caitlin risked her spotlight for? Well, what happened next made that answer crystal clear. A few weeks after the Nike deal hit the headlines, Caitlin Clark invited her teammate Sophie Cunningham to what looked like a simple Nike promo in Indianapolis. No big press release, no camera crew, no red carpet, just an invite. Sophie showed up thinking it was a low-key celebration, maybe a photo shoot, maybe a brand meeting. You know, standard stuff. What she walked into was anything but standard. The lights dimmed, a screen lit up, and suddenly a short film started rolling. Caitlin's journey from the cornfields of Iowa to becoming the most talked about name in women's basketball. The sold-out arenas, the critics, the brutal fouls, the pressure, and the people who stood beside her through it all. Then the room fell silent. Nike reps stepped forward, holding a custom gold-stitched jersey, the kind reserved for legends. Cameras flashed, applause rang out. This was Caitlin's moment. Only, she didn't put it on. Instead, she turned, looked Sophie straight in the eye, and dropped a line that nobody expected. "This isn't just for me. This is for every woman who shows up, fights hard, and protects her team." And that was just the beginning. The crowd was already stunned. That gold-stitched jersey, still in Caitlin's hands. But she wasn't done. She walked over to a glass display case, opened it, and pulled out something no one, not even Sophie, was expecting. A box. Inside, a custom pair of Sophie Cunningham Player Edition sneakers. Stylized in Indiana Fever colors, with one bold phrase stitched into the heel like a battle cry. "No backing down." Sophie's jaw dropped. But it didn't end there. Tucked next to the sneakers was something even more unbelievable. A contract. Not a shout-out, not a promo code. An actual business deal, under Caitlin's own endorsement umbrella with Nike. Caitlin had quietly negotiated Sophie into her own deal. No fanfare, no press leak. Just power, loyalty, and one revolutionary move. Let that sink in. While most rookies are still learning the playbook, Caitlin was flipping the entire league on its head. She didn't just take the biggest check in WNBA history, she turned it into a lifeline for someone else. And that's when it hit the rest of the room. This wasn't just a shoe launch, it was a mic drop. But the real question buzzing through the crowd was, why Sophie? And the answer? Well, it goes way deeper than sneakers. See, here's what most people don't know. That contract tucked beside the sneakers, it wasn't some last-minute favor or marketing stunt. It was part of Caitlin's original Nike negotiations. Behind the scenes, while lawyers and execs were ironing out her multi-million-dollar deal, Caitlin was insisting on something no other rookie had ever demanded. "If I'm wearing the swoosh, Sophie's coming with me." And Nike listened. They didn't just agree, they embraced it. Because Caitlin wasn't pitching a brand, she was pitching a story about sisterhood, about loyalty, about the kind of teammate who throws herself into a fight just to keep you on your feet. And Caitlin? She made sure that story had Sophie's name on the box. The result? An official Nike sub-deal, her own Player Edition shoe. A slice of the spotlight that most WNBA vets never get. And Caitlyn didn't even blink. She could have taken the whole pie. She chose to share it instead. In a league where every minute on the court, every endorsement, and every headline is hard-earned, this kind of move is unheard of. Most rookies flex with stats. Caitlyn flexed with selflessness. But this wasn't just about being generous. It was personal, because Caitlyn knew exactly why Sophie deserved this. And if you've been watching the drama unfold all season, you probably know too. You might be asking, why Sophie Cunningham? Why her out of all the teammates? All the rising stars? Here's the truth. Sophie earned this moment the hard way. From the second Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA, it wasn't all cheers and handshakes. She walked straight into a storm. Media chaos, on-court hostility, and non-stop physicality. Veterans went after her. Critics circled like sharks. And the league didn't exactly roll out the welcome mat. But in the middle of all that noise, Sophie stood up and stood beside her. She was the one taking hits Caitlyn never saw coming. The one checking players who crossed the line. The one who stared down opponents and refs with the same calm warning. If you're not gonna handle it, I will. Sophie didn't do it for cameras. She didn't do it for clout. She did it because she believed in protecting her team. Every time Caitlyn got knocked down, Sophie was already there, pulling her back up. Not because it was her job, but because it was her character. While others were chasing headlines, Sophie was chasing respect.
I didn't come here for the spotlight. I didn't come here to have more eyes. I came here to win.
While the league debated whether Caitlyn deserved protection, Sophie just gave it. No mic, no drama, no spotlight. And Caitlyn never forgot. People talk about the plays I make, she once said, but Sophie makes the plays no one sees. Until now. Because Caitlyn just made sure everyone saw. But what happened next? That's when this story stopped being about two players and started becoming something bigger. In the WNBA, loyalty can be risky. Teammates come and go. Minutes are fought for. Endorsements, even harder to land. In a league built on hustle, everyone is chasing something. Respect, relevance, survival. But Caitlin Clark, she flipped the entire game plan. She took the biggest rookie deal the league had ever seen and used it not to elevate her own image, but to elevate someone else. And when she did that, something shifted. The locker room went quiet, then it stood taller. Players, rookies, and vets started looking at the game differently. What if power wasn't just about stats? What if influence meant lifting others while you climb? One Fever teammate, Alyssa Thomas, said it best. She just gave Sophie the kind of shine most of us never get in our whole careers. And she didn't even blink. That's the part you can't fake. This wasn't a PR move. It wasn't calculated or rehearsed. It was raw, real, revolutionary. Caitlin Clark didn't ask for headlines. She created a movement. Suddenly, endorsements weren't just about flash and fame. They were about meaning. And brands? Oh, they noticed. Nike saw it, so did every other athlete watching from the sidelines. Because when one player uses their platform to pull someone else up, it doesn't just inspire, it forces the entire industry to rethink what leadership looks like. What Caitlyn did wasn't normal, and that's exactly why it worked. But believe it or not, she wasn't done. Just when you thought this was all about sneakers and sponsorships, Caitlin Clark revealed her real play, and it wasn't even on the court. She's launching a mentorship program. But not your typical photo op charity stunt. This is personal. It's built for girls in underfunded communities. Young athletes who dream big but don't have the shoes, the coaches, or even a safe place to play. The ones who love the game but can't afford to chase it. And Caitlyn's not just throwing money at the problem, she's showing up. There'll be clinics, training, gear drops, and real one-on-one mentorship, led by WNBA athletes, including herself, and, yes, Sophie Cunningham. Because Caitlyn knows something most athletes learn too late. What good is a platform if you don't use it to build someone else's? She's not building a brand, she's building a legacy. And let's be real, she doesn't need to do any of this. Her shoes are already sold out, her jersey's a top seller, the arena's packed every time she steps on the hardwood. But that's the difference. Most players build a following. Caitlyn's building a movement. One that says, if I rise, we rise. And in an era where loyalty is rare and selflessness is rarer, that message, it hits harder than any highlight reel. But the real punchline, Caitlin Clark's just getting started. $25 million, a rookie record, a signature shoe. A headline on every major sports outlet. But when Caitlin Clark signed that deal, she wasn't just thinking about herself. She was thinking about loyalty, about legacy, about who stood by her when no one else did. In a world where everyone's fighting for the spotlight, she handed hers over, without hesitation. She didn't flex by taking more. She flexed by giving more. And in doing so, she redefined what it means to be powerful in women's sports. Not by outshining her teammates, but by elevating them. Think about that. What rookie in any sport looks across the table at a billion-dollar brand and says, "I'm in, but I'm not coming alone"? That's exactly what Caitlyn did. And Nike didn't just say yes, they ran with it. Because loyalty sells, sisterhood sells, but most of all, authenticity wins. The result? A sold-out sneaker, a culture reset, a new blueprint for what influence should look like in sports. And if you're still wondering why this story matters, it's because this wasn't about a contract. It was about a code, the unspoken promise between teammates that says, if you ride for me, I'll ride for you. That's not just rare, that's priceless. So yeah, Caitlin Clark cashed in big. But what she did with that moment, that was the greatest assist of her career. What do you guys think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We are reading everything, and if you want to be updated on more stories to come, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that sweet little bell over there, because we got more stories coming as you stick with us. The IS Ball Scoop talks about, and we are just getting started.